Good morning and welcome. I'm your host, Bob Pace. This is a live podcast, and here are to fight CPS and get our children back. It's very, very important to you all that I know what you're going through. Family reunification is a hard thing to do. Excuse me. There are many out there that are struggling because of all kinds of issues. But the one thing you all share in common is you love your children and you want to get them back. You want to get your children back so you can have your family once again. Something tragically has happened to your family, and that is the CPS system. Now, apparently, there have been many cases of CPS going too far, taking your children. Excuse me. And they don't seem to care. Now, I hope you all are wide awake. I know it's early here on the west coast of the United States. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, so maybe this is a good time for you. I'm just doing this. This will become on a regular basis. I'll do this at 8 o'clock. There's an outing. I want to be with my son at 10 o'clock, so this affords me a time to be with my family. Now, this podcast is so ways you can interact with it. You can text in a message. And it looks like we have Katie Irvin. And she already has a question. How can I get custody of my 11-year-old back? My parents are the ones who called in false things and then took custody of her and have it because they could afford a lawyer now. The case has been closed for a half of something. Okay, been closed for 4.5 years now, and she's in the same situation I was as a child. Oh boy. That's a hard one there. Katie, I'd like to know the city and state you're from. That'd be great. All you guys that text and messages, I will try to answer as best I can. I'm not an attorney, but I have lots of years of experience fighting with CPS. Been doing this for about 14 years, been dealing with them. And they are horrible. There's probably reasons. The allegations made by lay people are one of the worst things that can happen in a case because a lot of times they're not true. They're just used for alternative motives. It sounds like your parents wanted to take your child. And if the same thing happened to you as a small child, there's some reason why. And of course, if they have the money, they can afford an attorney. And that's one thing. Without an attorney, you have a hard time to get out there. I don't know what your allegations were, but you can share your allegations. You're from Auburndale, Florida. Okay. You're way on the East Coast. I never had anybody from that part of Florida. I've had 3 or 4 people from Florida. So, but we'll sit here and try to understand it. What are the allegations that your parents said that you did? Okay. Well, you have to be a little bit more specific there, Katie. Anything and everything, it sounds pretty terrible. I imagine your parents called CPS and they get that complaint right away by the phone. They believe it to be true. You are guilty until you're proven innocent. And that's the sad part about it. Yeah, it's a horrible thing for your parents to say that your boyfriend raped your child. That's wrong. On there. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. So your case has been closed for 4.5 years, and you still haven't got. Do you have any visitations with your daughter at all? And what does the father of the child have to say? Is he, or I guess it's not your, yeah, it's the father child, your boyfriend. Um, has it been proven that he did rape the daughter, or? I want to help you there. Another way you can interact with this podcast is to call in. And you can call in to 626-698-0990 and talk about your case live on the show. I'd love to have you call in. That's 626-698-0990. So you say there's no findings. Yeah, rape in a small child is hard to prove. And the judge and the social services and then your parents are going to go with the assumption. Your public defender, I imagine you didn't hire an attorney because you can't afford one. Yeah, I'd love you to call in because it'd be a lot easier for you to talk about your case. It may help others, so please call in. Now, if you want to be a guest on my show, you can email my producer. That's Grace at VincentWDavis.com. That's Grace at VincentWDavis.com. And you can ask me to schedule one of my 14 podcasts. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. Once in the morning, every morning at 10 a.m., except for Sundays, I'm on at 8. And at nighttime, I'm on at 7 o'clock every evening. That's all Pacific Standard Time. The shows are 1 hour. And so you can pick one of those shows. Just tell Grace what show you want, and she'll schedule your time to be on my show. I'd love to have you. Anyway, my phone is open right now. We got from Florida, Kate. That's gonna call in, Katie, and that is great. Make sure my phone is all set to go. Yeah. Good morning. Is this Katie? Glad to have you on my show.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
Okay. That sounds a horrific situation there. So for 4.5 years, they took away your daughter on the premises you didn't protect your daughter because you let your boyfriend rape her. Is
They
he?
didn't take her on that exact instant
Oh,
because they couldn't find nothing, and they were trying to really push it. And my parents called in to her school then and said that she was being abused, stating that don't let her mom know if she does anything bad at school because she will beat her. And that's in the report. That's in the CPS report. And they try to blur out her name, but obviously you can tell that's her thing. And so they would keep going in the bathroom with her. And there was a bruise on her butt. And they were trying to say that it was going up her back. But there was a bruise on her butt because I did spank her because I had just had a brand new baby. And she was trying to push the brand new baby out of the swing. She was very small. She was only 5 pounds. So she was very small. She didn't hardly fit in the swing. I was trying to make dinner. I was just got home from the grocery store. And I did pop her because I could not get her attention away from pushing that baby out of the swing for nothing. I tried everything in the world. Come count the cans. Come help mommy. Come do anything. She wouldn't stay away. So I actually got arrested over that.
well, yeah. If you cause a bruise, that's pretty severe corporate punishment.
Well, it was because she had moved when I went to pop her, and she ended up falling into something. So it wasn't my actual initial hit that caused the bruising. But that's what the police found out, and they dropped it all because they found that to be true. So all charges were dropped with the state. But DCF said, no, we don't believe that. And then kept it on. And I couldn't see her for like 2 to 3 months. And when it was dropped of the actual court proceedings, they said, okay, well, we guess you can just see her now. But you can only see her for 1 hour each week, supervised in our office.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And so I did that. And I've done it, and she made a bunch of false allegations. They then took the baby too.
Who made the bunch of false allegations?
My parents and the DCF worker.
Now, why would your parents?
Now,
your parents raised you, right?
Technically, these are my grandparents, and yes, they did raise me. But finding out from my mother, who I was taken from, who is not their child, they're my father's parents. They made all these same exact allegations on my mother to make sure my mother never had custody of me.
So you were brought up. You were brought up in a similar situation where you were taken from your biological mother, correct?
Correct.
All right, and you're taken from your biological mother. And what were the allegations then that your biological mother did to you?
It was abuse, that she was hitting me, and they said sexual allegations also on her, that they made something about I was forced to watch them have sex because I was humping a ball, was the exact word for that allegation, which I have no regulations of. And supposedly I was 3 or 4 years old, and I have no regulations, never have no clue.
Yeah. What about your biological father? What happened to him?
He is around, but he was a young dude, and they have him manipulated into the fact of, well, we're your parents, and we raised you, so we're the best suited to raise more children.
The biological parents are the best suited. Studies have shown that biological parents are the best suited parents for children. So your father was an absentee. Your father was an absentee father. I mean, he didn't participate with you.
He was around, but he had to listen to everything they said, like they were my biological parents. Like he was just maybe like an uncle or a brother or something. Like that's how that's how my dad has
He
always
didn't
been
fight to
treated
keep
by me.
he
It's
didn't
almost like
fight
an
to
older
keep
brother.
custody of you. He didn't fight to keep custody of you.
No, he fought for them to have custody of me.
So he went along
But
with
they had
your
him manipulated
grandparents, right?
Yes, stating that
Right.
they were the better choice because he didn't
Right.
know how to raise
Now,
a child.
where's your your biological father and biological mother? Where are they?
My mother, I really don't talk to. They put such a wedge in between of me and her that we just can't fix it. Now as adults, we can't get past it all.
Okay.
Tried, we sat down, everything. So she's in a different state. And we don't really talk. My father lives right down the road from me, and we talk, but he don't want to hear nothing of that situation. And he actually helped them get my daughter. He helped them pay for a lawyer. So I had two very wealthy households going against me when I was already needing help, having two young children and being out on my own and things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It sounds pretty hard. Now, these are the grandparents that supposedly. How were you when you grew up with them? Were you an okay child? Were they abused?
we had a lot of difficulties. I was the only child that was there. After I got 10, my uncles both had children, and they would try to take them. I call them like God's plague because they go around trying to take the firstborn of everybody. Because they also tried to do it to both my uncle's kids, firstborn only. They don't want any of the other children. They only want the firstborn. I don't know what it is.
Are they religious? Maybe is it a religion? Is it a religion that they're following?
Yes. It's not a religion that they're following to do so, but they just think that they are protectors. They think they are the best thing for children, and nobody is better than them because they've raised so many children. She downs me all the time saying that, oh, your children don't listen. My children were so well. And
so what happened? I mean, so you and your boyfriend had a child. How old were you guys when you had your child?
I was 23, 24.
Okay.
He was 27.
Right.
28.
Now, were you still living at home with your grandparents?
No, we had moved out. We had a place all to our own.
So you're living with your boyfriend. You're living with your boyfriend, and you had your child, and then one day, your child was not listening to you, and you decided to use corporate punishment. You ever tried timeout?
Well, I had tried everything else that day. I had come count the cans on mommy because we just got home from the grocery store and I was trying to cook. Come count the cans on mommy. Hey, let's come sing this song. Like anything to distract her because she was.
How old is the child?
She is not my boyfriend's child.
Oh, she's not your boyfriend. I'm completely lost now. Who is she then?
No.
Who's the father?
Her father left.
I know, but did you have a boyfriend too? Did you have two men, or is it the man after?
No.
Okay.
She was 3 years old. No, she was 2 years old when I got with my now boyfriend. We have been together for 9 years.
What happened to the biological father? What happened to him?
He was on drugs. He was on all kinds of crazy stuff down here. He was having absolutely ridiculous. I had to put a restraining order on him. During that time of the restraining order, he did let me know that he was leaving off to another state to try to go into the military to try to better his life. And since then, I have never heard from him again. So I have not heard from him.
So he's not expressed any interest.
9, 10 years.
He's not expressed any interest into your child.
No. When we went to court over the restraining order, the judge asked him if he wanted to go to court, that because he was actually less income than I was, that they would appoint the family lawyer to him instead of me to try to help him out with a lawyer for court. And he refused, even with his grandmother standing right beside his side, stating that she would also help him put in for a lawyer, and she was kind of upset. He said, no, I don't want to do none of that. No, I don't want to fight her for the kid. She can have her. And everything was shut closed then, and right before he left, he's like, can I just stay goodbye to her? I was already with my now boyfriend, and I was pregnant with that child. I actually went into labor the next day.
Wait a minute. Now, wait. I'm confused.
Out, and I've never heard from him again.
Do you have 2 children or 1 child? I'm confused.
I have 5 children now.
Oh, I didn't know you had 5 children. All with the same father?
Now I have 5 children.
Are they all with the same father?
All except for my oldest, yes. Yes, all except for my oldest. Yes.
Now, is your current boyfriend the father of the 4 other children?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And why weren't the 4 other children taken from you?
I hadn't had them at the time. At the time, I had only had 1 other child, our first child together. So at the time, I had 2 children when it all started. And they did take the other child from me just because, well, you're a child abuser. So you can't be around any children. And I was like, okay. So she got placed with the father, and the father moved over to his grandparents where he could keep her. Well, because DCF was going back and forth and saying crazy stuff in between of us, saying that he said this and I said this, back and forth, they were constantly making us argue and fight. And every time we had an argument, even if it was only verbal, or like if I would push them out my way, or just be verbal, they would still put it as domestic violence. So they would open up a brand new domestic violence case in the middle of a case to keep it going. And they would keep lying in between of us to keep us arguing so they could keep pushing that we were having domestic violence. Even when it was just verbal. We were just having verbal disagreements.
Okay, so the boyfriend you had 4 children with, he sided with your grandparents.
No, he did not side with my grandparents because he's the one that they said possibly raped her, but they did all research on it, all everything, and they found no findings on it. The way that the cops and them kind of told me was that they could kind of tell my grandparents were lying. They're like, where this is done. They're like, case is closed. There's nothing here. But it was something for DCF to hold on to.
What do you mean?
To be able to stay in the pictures.
What do you mean hold on to? I'm confused. If you say the case is closed, why is...
They still try to push it. He was never arrested. He was never... They found right then and there, they're like, there's nothing here. They're like, this is a lie. We know this is a lie. The cops told me that. And they told him that. They never arrested him either. Because they knew it was all false. And DCF still tries to say that they put a restraining order without the court. I didn't know, and my parents hold it to it that it's a restraining order. He has a restraining order because he did that to her. And that's not, none of that is true, but DCF still tries to hold that to it. Like, we haven't had DCF bother us in the last 2 years because they've closed out the case completely. But they closed her case out in like 9 months completely. Even though I was going through all the stuff, they kept saying I was failing. They would go into court and be like, nope, she failed for this, that, and this. And she didn't go to any of her classes. I was like, yes, I did. And they're like, well, where's your documentation? I was like, they won't give me the documentation at the classes. They say that they have to fax it in to her. She has it all.
No, you can ask if you take a parenting class, you can ask for a copy. They are supposed to provide you the copy.
I did afterwards. Me and him literally had to, because he came to me, he's like, why would you say something like that to the DCF worker? He's like, knowing that's not true. And I was like, I never said that. And that's when we figured out that they were doing that, lying in between of all of us.
Now, if the case is closed, why suddenly are you talking about your case?
I've always talked about my case. I've always tried to get it open. I could never find a resource I
Okay.
can't find a lawyer. I can't find nothing to be able to help me.
Right.
And they've posted out and they've told me there's nothing they can do because with my second daughter, with my boyfriend, I still had to, because she ended up getting taken from him because he allowed me to see her one day. And they said we didn't approve that. And even though it was supposed to be my regular stuff, they took her from him, stating that he was at my house the time before, that he was spending the night at my house and blah, blah, blah. And all of that was false just because I was helping wash bottles. He himself, without the baby, would come over and bring me bottles, and we had enough bottles that we swapped out every day, so I could still feel like I was contributing to my kid's life. You feel me?
Yes, I understand.
I was trying to still be a mom some which way when I couldn't have my baby, so let me wash her bottles. Bring me her bottles every day, and I'll give you the clean ones, and you give me the dirty ones, and I'll wash them. And because I had that drying rack of bottles there, obviously she had been there. Obviously, I'm lying, and he jumped out a window, is what they said. The whole time she's talking to him on the phone at AutoZone with his sister. And she knows that he's at AutoZone. He's telling her to come meet him at AutoZone. And she's got my house surrounded with dogs and cops and everything after I had just worked a 10-hour night shift because I didn't answer the door within 30 minutes because I'm passed out sweet because I just finished the night shift.
Well, you're not required to answer the door unless a crime's in progress. You don't have to answer the door.
She called in and made a false claim, the actual DCF worker.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons we got her fired off the case. She called in and stated that he was inside my house, held hostage with the baby.
Now, why was he at AutoZone? Why was he at AutoZone? Why was he at AutoZone?
Because his car had broken down, and his friend was driving it, and his friend parked it at my house because it literally broke down like two houses down.
Okay.
I lived on a main road, and he's like, he had nothing to do with it. The baby had nothing. They did not have the baby. He's like, can I just park this here till I get the part in the morning? It was like midnight. I was like, sure. And then they left. And the next morning, she was at my house stating that I had been held hostage, and the whole time he was on the phone with her at AutoZone. Who come up here? And
who called him? I mean, why did the DCS call him? Why did they call him in the middle of the night? How'd they know that you're at your home? How did they know you're at your home? How did they know that he was at your home?
She would drive by my home all the time to see if
the social worker would drive by your home?
Yes.
Boy.
The social worker would drive by my home. I had to actually move and not even tell my grandparents where I was living because they would start doing drive-bys by my home just to see if I was with him, because then they started saying that I wasn't even allowed to have any contact with my boyfriend. I wasn't allowed to have any contact with my child.
Why are they telling you can't be with your boyfriend? Why are they saying that?
Because we would have verbal arguments, and she would put it down as domestic violence. But when we went to court, because she was like, y'all have to get a restraining order against each other, or else you'll never have your kids back. So we went to court, and we both pressed a restraining order against each other. And when we sat there and told the court, the restraining order court, our story, he looked at us and laughed. He said, are y'all serious right now? Do y'all hear yourself? And we was like, neither one of us said any of this. And that's what triggered us right then. He's like, why would you say that? And I was like, I didn't. And that's when we came together and started figuring out that they were pitting all of us against each other. And that's when we started working together. And we went to the law library here in our county, and we tried to start looking up laws. And we found out that we could go over to Tampa, and that was their main office. And we had to go up above the offices here in Arvindale. We had to go all the way to Tampa to the top person in Tampa and show her this evidence of her saying that I was on meth because I have bad teeth problems. I've never failed a drug test. I've never failed anything. And she told cops, she told everybody that I was on meth and all kinds of stuff. And the only thing that they said that they could do for us was just get her off our case. And that's where I could get my second daughter back because she had already closed out my first case with my oldest daughter. So at this point, I'm just trying to fight to get my second daughter back.
Okay.
Her case wasn't closed out yet.
Okay.
So they closed their cases separately too. It's so much stuff. And she didn't document hardly anything in our case. So when we would go to court, the judge didn't think we were doing anything. So this process lengthened out for like 3 to 4 years.
Didn't you show them the certificates? Did you show them the certificates from your parenting class and show the program certificates from any program you're in?
I finally found out that I could do all that, and I was supposed to have it, and I raised heck with that parenting person, and they made me trade out parenting person. She's like, I'm not even going to do with you no more because she wanted me to keep failing too. And when I finally got another one, I told her what had happened, and she's like, I'm going to give you every single documentation before I ever give it to the CPS. I was like, thank you. And she's the one who helped me get my second daughter back.
Okay.
And she put in there how fabulous I was. She was coming to my house, and she was seeing everything. And she went in as an actual character witness for me. She doesn't work with them no more, and I have no way to get a hold of her. But that's all in my records from getting my second daughter back. Now, I was told that I was never going to be able to open the case with my first one because I was like, since I'm doing so good and I'm getting my second daughter back, I can open my case with my first one, right? I can get my first one back. No, that's done. We can't touch that. That's done. I found out that they don't have custody. They didn't adopt her because they've been pressuring me for the past year to 2 years to for them to try to adopt her, which means that I would have to sign over my parental rights, which means I still have my parental rights, right?
Right.
Okay. But now when I tried to talk to one lawyer who was like kind of gonna think about taking my case, he was stating that we would have to try to find the father first and try to ask him and involve him in the custody battle.
Well, wasn't that your boyfriend?
No, he's not the father to my oldest.
Well, I understand your oldest. I'm talking about your second one.
Yeah, he's the father to my second through fifth child. To all the rest of them. But my oldest has a completely different father.
Right. He's the one that
no contact with.
Joined the military and disappeared. Okay.
Yeah, he's done some. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he ended up joining the military from what I've heard. So they're wanting to involve him again. And if he's doing better and all this kind of stuff, and he lives off in a different state, I don't want to involve him. She doesn't know him.
But they have to make some effort. They're required by law to make some effort to contact all the biological parents of the children. So all they have to do is write a letter of a known address. If he doesn't respond, they will drop it.
I don't even have a known address for him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They may not be able to write him, so they will drop it. They got to make an effort, though.
Yeah, I don't have any. The only thing I have is that it's possible Texas that he lives in.
Well, they have his name, and they can do a search with his name.
Yeah, they have his name, and possibly in Texas. And if he's in the military, they'll probably end up finding him.
Yeah, but they got to make the effort.
Would he be able to take custody from me?
Would he?
In that.
If he's a biological father, he could take custody, yes.
Even though he's had nothing to do with her?
That's right. That's right. The law is really strange. Any child that's born with biological parents. The biological parents are always the first source that the DCS wants to reunite and see if the child could be placed with him or the mom, the father or the mom. Now, with you, they don't want to place there because you have.
There's no proof.
But you have a neglect. You have a bruise that appeared on the child's back that maybe you didn't think from you hitting that child, but it was enough to make a bruise. Then that is physical abuse.
Well, like I said, the child moved and fell, and that's why it was all cut out. It wasn't from me actually hitting her. When I went to pop her on her butt, she rolled over and fell and hit the table. That's what the thing was from, and that's what the police ended up finding out.
But you said the bruise is on her butt. How would she hit the table if her butt's down below?
Because there was 2 levels to it. There was a bottom part to it and a thing. She was like 2-3 years old, and she rolled over and she hit it.
With her butt?
Go down and roll over.
Yeah, with her butt.
Well, it was right above her butt.
Okay, but what did the doctor say anything of how the bruise was caused by?
Yes, they all came to the conclusion with the police that that's what happened. That's why all the charges were dropped on me. Because I was arrested and everything for that. And the charges were dropped on me.
If the charges are dropped, why is DCS still pursuing the charges?
That's what I could never find out. And they said because they could.
Did you present it to the judge at court?
Yes, the court knew that the charges were dropped. And
what did the judge say?
Well, that means that you can just be around your child then. That's all that means, is what the judge told me.
Okay. Then why is DCS, if the judge says you can be around the child, why is DCS limiting you with your child?
Because they try to completely close out her case.
Well, you can't close out the case if one parent still wants the case open. You didn't want the case closed,
right? They told me I didn't, and I told them I didn't, and they said, well, you're not doing what you need to do, and I'm like, yes, I am. She's not documenting. And they closed
what
out
is it says? What are they saying?
Case.
What is they saying you're not doing? What is they saying you're not doing?
They were saying that I wasn't taking my drug classes.
Could you show a certificate from the teacher that taught those classes? Could you show them the certificate?
Yes, I can now. Yes.
Well, why they say they didn't? Why they say you didn't?
Because they were not documenting that I was attending the classes on the DCS side.
It's not up to the CPS to document anything. They're not going to want to document anything. They're crooks. They're bad people.
But I was told I wasn't allowed to have none of the paperwork.
But you can have the paperwork. You could demand a copy. There's a copy machine in that classroom. They'll make a copy of the certificate. I understand,
but I was told that I wasn't allowed to have that at the time.
I would insist it. I would insist. I don't care what you're told. You insist it. You sit there and very patiently ask the teacher, can I have a certificate of the class I completed?
I did ask the teacher. It was the parenting teacher who told me I was not allowed to have it. So I'm saying that parenting class and the Tri-County worker that I had was working with the DCS worker.
Did you go to the supervisor? I know it sounds a lot of work, but did you go to the supervisor?
No, sir. I went to that supervisor of that county, and they dismissed my entire thing. I had to go all the way to Tampa, which is the highest headquarters here in this county. It's actually the next county over, the highest headquarters around here. And the only thing that they told me I was allowed to do was get her removed off my case, which I got that DCF worker removed off my case. And when they investigated her, they found the findings and they fired her.
Okay.
But they told me there was nothing that they could go back and fix.
Yes, they can. You have to go.
And they closed out everything.
You have to go back.
You have
to go back to the supervisor. You have to go back to the supervisor of that county again, and they can do something about it. It's hard. They're going to try to push everything in a corner, But if you go there and you're not happy with that level of supervision, you go to the next level and the next level, until you reach the state Supreme Court. I mean, you could go to the federal court on this matter if you wanted to. Um, Problem is, it takes money, and that's sad because in order to fight a case, you need money, and the money um, is hard to come by. And the public defenders that they appoint you are worthless. They have a caseload of 30 people.
Working with DCF.
Yeah, they're always in cahoots.
She was working with DCF.
Yeah, they're always in cahoots. They're terrible. The public defenders of anything of CPS are bad news. You never want to deal with them because they're a waste of time.
She would never talk to me. She always sided with what they had to do. And the thing is that she knew my grandparents were manipulators. And sometimes she would speak out because it was so in your face. I'm like, what? And she was like, okay, come on now. Like,
okay, one second, Katie.
Almost like you ain't got to rub it in her face.
Right.
Hard.
Yeah, hold on a second here, Katie. I got to say hello. I got to say hello to John Elder, who just called in, and he's from Palmdale, California, and he's on my show yesterday. Hi, John. I'm dealing with Katie, who is in Florida, dealing with getting her daughter back, her oldest daughter back, who's been closed for 4 years. And it looks like she's had her parents say stuff that wasn't true. And she was accused of physical abuse of her daughter by excessive corporate punishment. And that's why she lost her daughter. She also doesn't have family that support her. She's pretty much all alone doing this. Now, what about the other 3 children? Now, you say that your oldest case been closed for 4 days. You have your next child. What about the other 3? Where are they at?
I ended up getting pregnant with the 3rd one at the very, very end closing of my 2nd child's case of her getting reunified with me.
Now, did the CPS people, did DCS tell you that you're not supposed to have any more children until your case is closed? Did they say that to you?
Yes, I hid my entire pregnancy. I sucked in my stomach.
I know, but why did you get pregnant again? If you knew,
not meant to.
Pardon?
It was not meaning to.
Yeah.
My failed birth control.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I did, and they told me that I would end up getting a child taken if I ever was pregnant again, and I hid it the entire pregnancy. And I got reunified about a month before I went to have my daughter, my 3rd daughter.
Okay.
They're all girls. So.
And all from the same boyfriend except your first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we end up reunifying, fighting against DCF, getting our daughter together back. And we end up keeping our 2nd, but my 3rd child. And then just recently here, we had a set of twins. So, but that's it for us. But my oldest daughter, I've been trying to figure it all out. And now I'm extremely trying to push it because now they're trying to alienate me. I didn't do what my mother did and my father did and just let them have her. I still tried to be 100% a parent and in the picture and trying to be involved in everything with her.
Okay.
Trying to see her as much as I can. I try to push it past the visitations of what they're saying because they're no longer involved. They closed out the case with I could have her for 4 hours once a week.
Okay.
But because they're not involved for the last couple of years, I've just been able to kind of get her here and there. But then there's times where they'll make me go 3 weeks without being able to see her. Oh, she's grounded from you. Oh, she's whatever. Oh, she had this cat because now there was no reason that she wasn't able to come over here. And they went and bought her a kitten. And now she's not allowed to leave this kitten at all. It's like her infant, and she's not allowed to leave it. Mm-hmm. And she was told she wasn't allowed to bring it over here with her because I would kill it.
Why would they think you would kill? Why would they think you'd kill the cat?
Because they're trying to do parent alienation. They know I would never kill a cat. They know it. I've lived with cats my entire life.
Okay.
And just because I have chose not to empty a litter box right now does not mean I would kill an animal.
Right.
Wouldn't kill anything.
Right.
I just don't want to empty a litter box, really. I would rather get a puppy or something.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's what you've got is a cat, then that's what you've got is a cat.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Okay.
But yes, they have went as far as telling her that I would kill it. They've told her that I would rip her out of her schooling if I brought her back over here. So they know for a long time that I've been trying to figure out a way to get her back home. And this is the kind of stuff that they're now putting, well, not now, but have been putting in her head this whole time.
Right.
And that I'll rip her away from all her friends. I won't let her have any friends. That I'm only wanting her back to be a babysitter for my other children when I am a stay-at-home mom.
Now, wait a second. Your child number 2, they're talking about your child number 2. When did child number 3, 4, and 5 come along?
Number 3, like I said, was born a month after my case was closed with my second one.
Right.
So I hid my entire pregnancy.
Well, your child, if your child was born after your case was closed, they can't take the child.
Right, and they didn't. So I have all 4 of my other children. I have since that case was closed out. They reunified me with my second one, and they never took my third. And then I haven't been dealing with it for 4 years. And my twins, that's number 4 and 5. I had a set of twins.
Okay.
They just turned 2.
Now, is your boyfriend that produced the children with you still with you?
Yeah. This year we'll make out 9 years.
And you don't argue.
Through all of that.
You don't argue anymore.
No.
Okay.
We don't argue anymore since finding out that they were pitting us against each other. Like, we have had a few things of, we don't like how this or that is, but it's nothing physical, and we have had no altercations. We have had no problems with anything. No police calls, no nothing. We have had our 4 children. We have not had any more DCF calls.
Okay. So we're really dealing with we're dealing with your oldest, your child number 1, who you had with the guy who now is somewhere in Texas in the military. Okay. Now I have to interrupt you for 1 second, Katie. John, I'm sorry to hear that the foster care had taken them to another city. They took them from California to Florida. So the same city that this lady is from, today. I don't know what state that is. Oh, it's in Florida. Oh, it's in the same. Wow. His child was taken by his foster parent to your city, Katie, in Upperdale. So that's on the phone with you from the same town my kids were taken to. What are the odds of that, Bob? Well, I know, John. I'm just trying to say that. Yeah, John now has a situation where his children were taken by the foster parent from California to Auburndale, Florida. So that is a coincidence. There's something that attracts people to cities that have bad CPS. And I guess Alterdale must be a bad place for having children.
They try to get them. They try to get them fostered out. They were at first not okay with her going with my grandparents, but as soon as they knew that my grandparents wanted to adopt her immediately, they were all for it. Take her, and you'll never get her taken. Take her and get a lawyer, is what my CPS worker told her.
Right.
And she was livid when I got that CPS worker fired. She was livid because she did not like the new DCF worker that had actually just started in the DCF division. She was actually my third DCF worker because the second one I got fired because she texted me that we could throw hands in the street. And I was like, what?
Wow.
She's like, yeah. She goes, you want to get slick. And I was like, no, I just know the law now. And you're not allowed to do that. She goes, we can go throw hands in the street thing. I was like, okay. And I literally texted her. I was like, this is being screenshotted and sent into your supervisor.
Right.
And she got deleted off my case immediately. No questions asked because of that proof. And they already know that I will go straight back to Tampa to get the woman changed because they told me that when I had went to just her supervisor to try to get her changed, because I found out I could get her changed, they told me that they will not change her because she knew too much evidence on the case, and that nobody else would be able to stand in the case.
Right. So
it's what they told me.
Right. How can I help you with your firstborn? If the case is closed,
how do I reopen that? What do I do? Do I need to go back to those people in Tampa and demand that this be looked at again?
I'm afraid it's going to go to my first rule that you need to get an attorney. And I know that's money, and you may not have the money. But without an attorney, I'm talking about a professional attorney, you're helpless because I tried to fight my case for a year and a half without an attorney. I had to sell my house to get my attorney. My attorney was Vincent W. Davis. He's a good, a family law attorney. He has trial experience.
I've been watching his stuff.
Right.
Does he work with me down here in Florida?
Well, he'll work with anybody anywhere. The problem is he has a retainer, and he will charge a retainer fee to do your case, and based on how complex your case is. Now, having a child that is closed case, that's a hard case, but you can do that. There's a way you can do that. And, you have to talk to him. Right now, he's offering a consultation for $60 for 30 minutes. It's 888-888-6582. And you call in and tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And when you speak to Mr. Davis, you say Bob Pace sent you. But you want to call in to 888-888-6582 and get that consultation. He'll talk to you for 30 minutes for $60. And there's a ticket right at the bottom of my screen that takes you to his calendar. And you go to that website and you lock in a time with him. It's right there. You just go to that website and lock in the time. And he will help you with the strategies of how to open your case and how to fight CPS and get your children back. I know that you love your firstborn, and it's sad that you had to go through it, not only as a child growing up with your mom, but as an adult now with your 5 children. It's very sad, but CPS is not your friend out there. And I'm telling all my listeners, you have to get a professional attorney. It's like doing a doctor. If you need heart surgery, you as a layman are not going to do heart surgery on yourself. You're not going to get a layman to do heart surgery on yourself. You need a professional doctor who knows how to do heart surgery. Same thing is true with attorneys in family law. Family law is very difficult. They're working against people that lie. The DCS workers or the CPS system, they all lie. They are deceiving. And I've talked to over 500 people. It's the same story. They do lie. And you went through a lot of experience of being lied to, especially if you going through all that.
I did.
Yeah.
We end up having to record them.
Right.
They will tell you that they're not allowed to be recorded, but we ended up having to record her every time she tried to come speak to us.
Yeah, one of my listeners.
Say, go back and say.
Right, one of my listeners in my room, John Elder from Palmdale, California, wants to contact you about how he could get his daughter back. He's asking, does he want to contact? Can he contact you? Do you have an email that you like to give him?
Yeah, I can try to give you as much knowledge as what I found.
Well, he says his daughter now is there. Maybe you know the contacts in DCS there, and then he can pursue those contacts there.
Yeah, most definitely. I can give you whatever I have for Tampa.
What is your email? What is your email?
It's Katie M as in Marie Irvin. So my first M Irvin 21 at gmail.com. I'll also type it in the comments too. I know that's probably a little confusing.
I think I got it right.
If it's making typing noises.
I think I got it right. Katie M Irvin 21 gmail.com. Is that it?
Pretty much. You just spelled my last name with an I. That's okay. I did put it in the comment.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So I did type it in there.
Okay. Hey, John.
You're more than welcome.
John, Katie has typed it in the comments. She spells her last name without an I. Is this R-V-I-N?
It's E-R-V-I-N.
Oh, E-R-V-I-N. It's E-R-V-I-N. I'm sorry I misspelled it. I was thinking it was spelled the other way.
That's common. It's common for it to be spelled with an I. So I'm used to that. That's okay.
Okay, well.
Well, I would definitely try to get a hold of Mr. Davis then and try to go that route of trying to reopen this with her because like I said, I've had the 4 other ones for 4 years now, 5 years now with no problem.
Okay.
And
all right.
I bought a beautiful house for them and everything. And I gotta get her back.
Well, time is now fast approaching. My hour is almost up. I have about 2 minutes left. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk about your case. Hopefully people can be helped out there. I think you're helping out this John Irvin, John Evert from Palmdale, Florida. And because his 2 kids were moved from California to Florida at the same town yours is. So that was really good. So I want to thank both John and Katie for joining my show. I'll be on again tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I'm here to help you all. And I want to thank you. Don't give up your fight. Hang in there for your love for your children. God bless you all. And I will go for now.